All right, now the fun. Let's do a drive and ride review with both of these beasts, the 2024 Bronco Raptor and the Wrangler Rubicon 392. Two completely different animals. Natural aspirated V8, 485 horsepower, twin turbo, 6-cylinder, long travel suspension, independent suspension, 37s, 35-inch BFGs. All right, so let's get into this and drive these two. Both of these things are warmed up. I'm gonna go do the same loop today. I'm not gonna get on either of these today for performance because in all fairness, it wouldn't really be close. This is substantially faster on the street and we're not gonna be doing any off-roading on this. And plus being new, I don't wanna be hard on either of these things. I want these things breaking in. But today we're gonna do the same drive loop, same day, same conditions. And we're gonna kind of compare. How are they compare in fuel economy? How do they compare in drive quality? Let's start with the Bronco Raptor first. See that nice startup sequence? No heads-up display. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna put this thing in the normal mode, make sure the drive mode is on, normal, there we go. Too high, make sure we're in too high. We're going to reset our fuel economy for this trip so we can see what we get for fuel mileage. Also, the other thing I'm gonna do in this video, I'm gonna toggle between the different exhaust modes so you can kind of see the difference in sound and just how it impacts our decibel meter reading on the highway, and does it get annoying? For this drive loop today, we're gonna do the same loop, same day, same time. We're gonna try to drive it the same. We're not gonna get too crazy on either one of them. The whole goal is really, how do they ride? How do they drive? How do the pedals feel? How's the comfort? How's the shifting? How's the fuel economy? What does it feel like for day to day? And I'll be real curious to see. I've driven a lot of the other 2024 Wrangler Rubicons. This will be my first time actually getting the opportunity to drive a 392. I'm gonna say 67, 68 decibels. We got no one around us, no one behind us. Pretty consistent too. One of the things I like about the Bronco Raptor is I've got lane keeping, not lane centering. This doesn't have the full capability or Blue Cruise, but at least it's got something to kind of toggle you between the sides, which is kind of nice. I also like just generally the comfort of this interior. It's laid out pretty nicely. It's got decent room. Steering wheel's comfortable. Controls are in good spots. Dash layout's nice. You got a little more depth here. You'll notice between the Wrangler, it's a little closer up. When I do these videos, we always do 70 mile per hour. That's the speed limit. We're not gonna do anything crazy. And we're trying to compare apples to apples. And I'm using cruise because I want similar results. Today's loop is highway and a little rural. So it should net us pretty decent fuel economy for comparison. There won't be much city driving. I think if we added city into this, this is where you'd see a huge improvement with the Bronco Raptor over the 392 Wrangler, because this thing's got auto start-stop technology and a smaller engine. So I think we would see a little bit difference there, but I'll be really curious to see what we get for today. So how's the braking on the Bronco Raptor feel? Feels pretty decent, pretty composed going around these corners. Decent handling. This is one of the things I like about the Bronco Raptor is I feel like it actually has pretty decent handling. It's not tossing you around the road. Everything feels pretty decent. Trans shifting, pretty smooth. I like how it shows the gears we're going through. I don't really feel anything not normal. I mean, I'm not feeling any flaring of shifts or anything else kind of goofy. It feels decent. Another cool thing I like about the Bronco Raptor is if I want to make this thing be more sporty on the road, I've got two options. I can change the suspension stiffness or comfort from the steering wheel, which I can do right here. I can go normal, I can go sport, or I can go off-road. I can change that. That's super cool. Or I can go into one of the sport modes, which automatically does it. Another cool thing about the Bronco Raptor is this button here, this R. R stands for Raptor mode. And what Raptor mode is, it's a mode that actually allows you to make a custom preset of how you would like your suspension, steering, exhaust, transmission, your different drive modes. You can combine it all into a custom setting and you save it like a preset. Like a radio station you would do, you can literally do the same thing here. So for instance, I've got my R mode set up. If I like sport mode, but I don't want maybe the sport suspension, I wanted it normal, and maybe I want the steering more in comfort. When I go to the dunes, if I'm doing a long dune weekend, I've got all kinds of different settings I'm playing with. I will get all my settings the way I want it. I'll maybe lock the rear axle, maybe disconnect the rear sway bar, put it in maybe off-road, maybe off-road mode or Baja mode, or maybe sport mode. It'll depend on what the day is. I'll turn off auto traction control, I'll set the exhaust, suspension, steering, everything I want, and I go boom, click, I save it. So I come out of the dunes, and when I want to go back in and out, all I gotta do is hit that one button and it does 15 plus operations all at once. So I kind of like that. That's kind of a cool feature. Steering feel feels good. I don't feel any vibrations or any weird feelings through the steering wheel, through the brake pedal, through the seat, lumbar. Everything feels good in the seating in this thing. I don't feel anything uncomfortable. You do get some wind and road noise you feel here going through here. Curious here, will it downshift? 10th gear. Yep, dropped to 9th. Didn't really change the RPM much, but it did jump from 10th to 9th. Now I'll be curious to see what the 392 does in that exact same spot. So this mirror is self-dimming, just like the 392. All right, we're gonna finish up our loop now, and we will see how the Bronco Raptor did for fuel economy. There we go, 17.6 miles per gallon over the 13.1 miles. So the powertrains on these things couldn't be more different, but yet at the same time similar. And here's what I mean. 470 horse natural aspirated V8 with 470 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 6.4 liter pushrod V8 engine versus a twin turbo 3 liter V6 that makes 418 horsepower, 440 foot-pounds of torque. So if we looked at torque, there's only 30 pound-feet of torque difference. Horsepower, what is that, 42 horsepower, 52 horsepower difference? Not a huge margin, but how they make power is a lot different. This is instant, there's no lag because there's no turbos, but this is smooth. It's got torque that hits a lot quicker because of lower RPMs, the way the turbos make boost. All right, now let's go do our drive loop in the Wrangler Rubicon 392. Let's fire this beast up. Man, just amazing. That sound, it's hard to put a price tag on that. I'm gonna set the air conditioning on this one also to about 70, same. There we go, air conditioning auto. I don't know of a way, unfortunately, to change a drive mode to put this in a, we're gonna put the exhaust, we're gonna put it in just standard exhaust, just for this, because we're gonna be checking like sound inside of the interior. But I don't know a way to change any drive modes in this thing. There's no options here, I don't think. Dashboards, oh, off-road pages, this is cool. Oh, that's sweet, I really like that. Accessory gauges, very, very cool. That's awesome. This is the stuff where I feel like Chrysler does such a great job, or Dodge, Jeep, whatever. I think Jeep does such a great job on this. Navigation menu is a little small, but I think you can make it larger. Yep, there you go, very cool. There's your HVAC controls, very nice. Looks smooth, no issues there. I cannot do too high, it's for auto, that's okay. We will go into our menus though. All right, let's reset our fuel economy, that's reset, and let's do it. Want to thank Dick Scott Motor Mall in Fowlerville, Michigan, Mr. NelsonCypher and Judd Scott. These guys are a great dealership. We've bought plenty of vehicles from them in the past. They've always taken care of us for our Jeep and Ram products. I've always been a big fan of Jeeps, to be honest. I think they're fun. The history of the brand is super cool. We loved our Wrangler Rubicon we bought in the past. We've had a lot of Grand Cherokees. We've really liked them. This new JL platform, that it's actually not even new. It's been out for years now. They really just took the JK and just made it nicer. I like it's got a better trans, the updated technology, and now this new refreshed interior with the infotainment is really sweet. So getting up to speed, I kind of like the analog gauges. I've talked about this in other videos. I'm not a big fan of the digital instrumentation clusters. I think they look outdated quickly. I like the more of the look like this of more of a standard gauge cluster. I think it looks nice. We're gonna set the cruise at the same speed we did at the other one. So first impression before I put the decibel meter on this, it sounds very similar with sound. One of the things I notice is immediately, this feels smaller in here. It feels like a little smaller cabin. Not bad and not a huge difference, but it's a little bit smaller. Ergonomics, all the controls, I think the steering wheel feels really nice. I like all the spots of where I put my elbows and everything. Feels good. This is where I feel like Jeep, Chrysler, Ram always does a great job in their interiors as far as ergonomics. I like that. There's more, I think there's a little more headroom with the Bronco Raptor. I feel like from where my head is at, I'd have more clearance. I'm 6 foot tall. Seats feel really comfortable. No issues there. Now, let's do a comparison in sound. I'd say it's about 1.5 to 2 decibel higher. Similar road, same spot, no cars in front or behind us. Kind of check out your RPMs at 70 on the highway, just shy of 2,000 RPMs. This is what's nice. It feels like the Rubicon 392 is a little bit lower RPMs, which makes sense because big block engine, you know, you can get away with that. You got to rev the V6s a little bit more. Your controls in the steering wheel all feel good. I like you got your radio controls on the back, paddle shifters here. Ergos for your turn signals feel nice. Trans shifting, everything feels decent there. Nothing weird. As far as road and wind noise, man, they're really similar. And the numbers kind of show they're within a few decibels of each other. I do kind of prefer the look of an all black top, so you don't see the little difference between the sound deadening material or not. But it's amazing that they've made Wranglers this quiet going down the road. You don't hear much noise out of these things now. That's part of, I think, the improvements they've made over the years. For perspective, going down the highway 70, it actually shows I was getting about 17 miles per gallon. That's pretty good, actually, on the highway with the big V8. Or doing 65, you'll see it go up a little more. That's really good, honestly. I mean, the fact that you can have a big V8 and a non-aerodynamic vehicle getting that kind of fuel economy, super impressive. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but this thing goes into the 4-cylinder mode. You'll see it say 4-cylinder. It has a pretty big difference in sound in the engine when it's in that mode. Okay, handling around this corner. Feels a little bit stiffer with the Rubicon, but not stiffer in a bad way. It actually feels almost a little less body roll, which is kind of nice. Makes me think it's maybe because of the solid front axles, maybe a little stiffer shock. Maybe the Bronco Raptor is a little squishier with the long travel and the bigger diameter shocks. Trans shifting, smooth. The 8-speed transmissions that's been behind the Hemis and the Eco Diesels with Ram, Jeep, Chrysler the past 10 years, they're the best. I think they're phenomenal. They always shift great. They're super durable. I think they use ZF as the manufacturer, which has been used in a lot of other premium cars. I think Audi, BMW ran them as well. They're just such a great transmission. You just don't get any weird shifting at all. I actually prefer it personally more than the Ford 10-speed trans. It seems like it's got a better reliability record, and I just think it shifts a little bit better. I'm sure there's pros and cons. Maybe the 10-speed gets you a little better fuel economy. I can't speak to that, but I can just tell you I personally like how the 8-speed shifts a little more. Steering wheel feel, brake feel, seat comfort. This feels a little bit stiffer, no surprise, right? Solid front axle, a dampener that's non-adjustable, whereas the Fox shock, I think the Bronco Raptor rides a little softer, which makes sense. You got a 37-inch tire versus a 35-inch tire, so you got a little more rubber to absorb the dampening. You've got shocks that are adjustable. You've got longer suspension travel. All of that makes sense that the Wrangler 392 would actually have a little bit better ride. As far as comfort going down the road, it feels smaller and more nimble, which some people might like and some people might not like. I don't mind it, actually. I think this is a very comfortable, nice vehicle to ride. I don't notice any real different as far as road noise. I think the engine on this sounds much more pleasant. I love the sound of the V8. It sounds awesome. The seats, I think the seats feel very similar as far as comfort. I'm not seeing anything really less or more comfortable. I just think this is dampened a little bit softer. Now I'll be curious. We're going up a slight uphill here. Let's see if it downshifts. Yep, it did also. So the V8 392 and the 3-liter EcoBoost. They both had to drop a little, one gear to get up that hill. So not a big deal, but they're both similar in that regard. They couldn't hold it and hold speed. All right, we're gonna pull back in now to Dick Scott Motor Mall here, and let's see what we get for fuel economy. There we go, 16.3 miles per gallon over the 13.2 miles. That's pretty impressive. Another nice thing to consider, 4,500 pound tow rating, 3,500 pound tow rating. Really just depends, what do you want? I think if I had to pick for long-term resale, I think this is the move. The Wrangler Rubicons have always been great for resale, but now with the 392 and how few of these they made, I think this is long-term going to be a better resale vehicle. It just depends on what you want. But the Bronco Raptor for day-to-day, man, it's a really great vehicle. I like the technology in this. You got a little bit more technology, which is kind of nice. Just all depends on what you're after for a day-to-day driver or just an ultimate rock crawler. All right, so to summarize my thoughts on the Bronco Raptor versus the Rubicon 392 drive and ride review. Man, I'm impressed. I really thought the 392 is gonna get pretty terrible fuel economy, almost identical to the Bronco Raptor. Now, this is not an off-road comparison. That would be for a fun future video, and maybe we'll do that. But for today, this was an on-road ride and drive review. Comfort, what did I like? I think the comfort is, no surprise, a little bit better on the Bronco Raptor. But man, that V8 and the transmission on the Rubicon 392 is amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to thank Dick Scott Motor Mall in Fowlerville, Michigan for letting us do a review on this super sweet Rubicon 392. I've bought a lot of Jeeps and Rams from these guys. They've always taken care of me. I hope you enjoyed this two-part series. If you did, feel free to give me a like. If you like my channel a lot, feel free to subscribe. And if you do, turn those notifications on. Thanks for watching.